To make something really clear for everybody, I completely forgot to sort of say this, but I didn't break in. There wasn't any forced entry, but please, I'm just asking on this one, just show a lot of respect to it, because even though it looks like a solid structure, it's still quite dangerous. And actually, to get here is probably one of the main reasons why it is quite difficult. I mean, in other words, if you get caught, it is game over. You've kind of got no excuse. For me, like I said, I think I've just got lucky on this occasion, and not only that, like I said, I'm purely here to document the history of it. So there we go. Sorry, just needed to clear that one up. See you later.
Preview.
And we're in. Now, this is a lot of cabling and everything else that they would have used. People have obviously been down here probably quite recently. And then, if I take you for a look here, you can see that they split it in half. I'm assuming because of the cabling. In fact, there's a distortion. So let's go. The reasons why they've probably split this in half is because they did at one point have trouble with the wiring of it actually completely collapsing. So please don't try this. But I'm going to name this one because it is a documentation part of important history, and everybody knows about the other shelters. In fact, I've done most of them, but I don't think I named them under Northfleet, so you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Now, that's where I came from. So, it's mega huge. So you can see the light fixtures every other metre, I think. Yeah, no, just over about a few metres is a light fixture. The cabling. So I'm not going to pretend for 1 second that I am the first person to come down here, but I might be the first person to document it in a really good way. I don't know. Light bulb's still there. So obviously they would have had the mesh covering over them. Just these concrete slabs screwed in with bolts. And you can see 90 km. Sort of slowly get towards the inner side of the tunnel. What I'm going to do is probably go back on myself so you can have a look at it even more. We find a dead body. What are they? Yeah, for electricity, aren't they? Yeah, look. Huh. That's an old type of fuse box, isn't it? Water in it. Keep out. So these were the original gates that guarded this. can see how far away we are. That's the light from the other entrance. It's running right underneath Northfleet. So when you drive over Northfleet, you're basically going over underneath this. And a tunnel of this magnitude is huge. Although these cobwebs, can you see? Wow. Keep out electricity, because there are cables on the opposite side, but we're going to have a look anyway. Hopefully not get electrocuted. See this little fuse, this fuses. Right. So I want to document it as best as possible, so let's try and head back. Try not to make too much noise either. Look at this. All this cabling would have come across here. All this electricity. So, as I probably said, I always knew about this one. This was actually, funny enough, the only one in Northfleet that I've never actually explored until today. Amazing, isn't it? This complex, this is the type of structure you normally see in the deep shelters in London. So it's properly heavily reinforced. I mean, you've got to imagine there's easily, we're going right underneath a huge amount of chalk here. I mean, that's maybe underestimating sort of thing about it, really. But it's right underneath Northfleet. It's the one that people always say about, like, oh yeah, did you hear about the one that went right underneath Northfleet? And you're like, actually, yeah, I do. And I knew where it was, but it's all about timing. You've got to sometimes just be a little bit patient and sort of get your timing right, so you can explore it. Now that's cool. Just trying to, like I said, show you a bit of detail. As you can see, it's huge. I'm technically walking down. Well, I'm not really, because it's at a slight angle, but I'm walking through most of Northfleet. So if you live above, if you work above Northfleet, well, there you are. So, this is really cool. I'm going to show you this before we go in the other bit. So look, fire. But it's empty. That's not any good, is it? So basically, if there was a fire, open that up and find that there's nothing in it. Right, let's try and access the second half of the tunnel. Let's do it. Welcome back. I had to get through. It wasn't as easy as that looks. But here's the other side of the tunnel. I just realised my head is literally on some cobwebs. Nice. So this is the other entrance. Well, this is the other side of the entrance. There's one of your old-fashioned, which we've seen before actually. We saw it probably at Who, the old cables where you can see they've the copper and all that lot wiring in between, and then they've seemed to have modernised it. So this is the other Coke bottle. So yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I'm probably the first person to come down here, but generator 5, there you go, nice bit of detail. Let's try and get some in. I always keep talking about detail because I think to myself, I try not to rush this. I try to see the best video as possible, but obviously, like I said, I do have a sort of slapdash approach most of the time. 19 km. There's that familiar smell that you always get in air raid shelters and underground structures, which is that sort of greasy, oily smell. It's lovely. I get high off it. Wow. So, as I said before, even though it looks very strong. If you knew what was on top of this, and the rumours, well, not the rumours, but what I'd always known about this place, which was actually why I was hesitant, actually, because I wasn't expecting it to be complete. Because one of the reasons why they'd closed it, for obvious reasons really, which obviously because it becomes more dangerous the older it gets, but that in time, because of the amount of chalk and weight that it's been put on it, it was susceptible to being collapsible, which I don't believe. I think that was always a rumour just to sort of scare people away from coming down here. Don't come here because it might collapse. My camera's doing quite a good job of focusing, which is good. Good old torch. It's just amazing, isn't it? The lights. In fact, that's a good one. You can imagine at some point what this was used for. I might have to sort of, because we're coming onto the industrial part, and I don't think they're going to appreciate my light flashing outside. Just about to turn that off and then I just trip over. And looking back into the abyss. There we go. The fact there's natural light coming out of that, I'm quite surprised. They've tried to turn that on there. Again, I don't really want to sort of tell people where I am, because literally where this opens out onto is right into a place where you don't really want to get caught, if I'm being really honest. But I am going to peek in Mosey. So incredible. I'm sure I'm probably walking on spider's webs. Look at this though. Look at that! Everybody, we've got an original switch. Hell yes. We've got the cables for the electric feeding out. It's glorious. Then you've got yeah, so this is what I will show you this. Northlink Cable Company. Cable tunnel. That's the grate for it. I'll tell you what though. Huge amount of electricity going on here, isn't there? Look at that. Wow. Let's walk back. Say goodbye, everybody. Let's walk back through this incredible bit of rare history. Bucket something half. Does that say that does bucket? No, it can't be. Or terminal. It's very weird to read that, very hard. Right, let's go. Generator 5. You can't see that, generator 5. How about if I just get my torch out of the shadow? There we go. Generator 5, everybody. So there's not really that much graffiti. And then even then, some of this is hard to tell. I mean, obviously somebody's had a Coke or 2 Cokes and they've left them down here. That doesn't, and obviously they've opened up someone's opened it up, so that historian lovers like me can explore it. But yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, there's an old Munch to Munch packet. It's not, you know. Down this dark corridor. It's very black down here. It's because there's no natural light coming from this side. Quite funny because I left my bag on one side. It'd be funny if that disappears. I'm like, oh, did that? Should have taken it with me. So, I mean, Isn't history amazing? Yeah, don't want to get any. That was good actually. I remembered. Look, you can see spider's webs are practically touching my head. Right. Are we done? We're done. Wow. We are done. This is crazy. To the abyss. I mean, it reminds me so much of the deep shelter constructions in London, and then also Brunel's sawmill, the top of that, the roof of that, where it's sort of got this sort of very visible sort of roof structure to it. Or Brunel's sawmill was the thing that got converted later on. You know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm not gonna sort of say too much as per usual, but people who know will know. But it's very reminiscent of that. I mean, if you didn't have this, I mean, that's a formidable tunnel that you could easily fit X amount of people through. So, just incredible though, isn't it? Well, like I said, very substantial tunnel. More substantial than I thought, to be honest. Oh, sorry, people who've got epilepsy. This is how dark it is, by the way. Crazy. Anyway, cool. So, it was great, wasn't it? A lot of fun. Right, any more words of Phoenix history? Thank you as always for watching. Stay tuned for some more crazy videos. Like I said before, I don't know if you're watching them in any specific video. I'm not labelling some of these Northfleet ones that I've been doing. Sorry, not been labelling them. But today I'm going to, because this needs to be documented regardless for Northfleet's heritage and Gravesend's heritage. The others, well, you'll look back on the channel, and if you know that they're the Northfleet ones, feel free to use them, spread them about. I don't mind. If you want to post them up and say, look, these are the Northfleet air raid shelters, the other ones I put down, that's fine, use them. I don't mind you doing that. But for today, this is the only exclusive one that I'm going to say, outside of informal air raid shelters and tram tunnels, that this is incredible. So yeah, right. In more words of Phoenix history, thank you as always for watching. I will see you all very soon. Goodbye for now. Take care. Bye. Oh, yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Spread the word of the channel. You know what we need to do. Love you to bits. Bye.